They laughed when the alien said, "Hit me if you can." No one laughed after the punch. The arena was built to humiliate. That was the unspoken truth everyone in the Galactic Coalition understood. A massive circular pit of black alloy stretched beneath a transparent energy dome, floating in the vacuum of space. Millions watched from across star systems, warlords, scientists, council elders, each certain they were about to witness proof of something they already believed. Humans were weak. Earth had joined the coalition only 5 cycles ago, not through conquest or dominance, but desperation. Their technology lagged behind. Their lifespan was short. Their bodies were fragile. Coalition records labeled humans as support assets only, useful minds, disposable bodies, never fighters. So when a single human stood alone in the arena, unarmored and calm, the audience buzzed with disbelief. Across from him towered Krath Zul of the Dravex, 8 feet tall, plated in living armor, 4 massive arms ending in claws sharp enough to tear steel. His species didn't conquer worlds, they erased resistance entirely. Krath Zul rolled his shoulders, metal rings clanking against hardened scales. He laughed, a deep thunderous sound amplified across the arena. "This," he scoffed, pointing at the human, "is what Earth sends?" The camera drones zoomed in. The human looked ordinary. No visible implants, no power suit, just a worn gray combat uniform. His posture was relaxed, almost casual. His name was Elias Mercer, former Earth Defense Force, discharged, classified. Krath Zul stepped closer, his shadow swallowing the human. "I was promised entertainment," he sneered. "Instead, I get a corpse waiting to happen." The crowd laughed. Even some council members allowed themselves thin smiles. Elias didn't respond. Krath Zul leaned down until their faces were inches apart. "I will break you gently," he said mockingly. Then he straightened and spread his arms wide, exposing his armored chest. "Or," he grinned, teeth gleaming, "hit me if you can." The arena erupted in cheers. The bell tone echoed. The match had begun. Krath Zul didn't move. He wanted humiliation, not victory. He wanted the human to strike first, to feel bones shatter against Dravex armor. He wanted the galaxy to remember this moment. "Go on," Krath Zul taunted. "Show them human courage." Elias took a slow step forward. Observers noticed the shift immediately. His stance changed, feet grounded, shoulders loose, breathing measured. Combat analysts leaned closer to their screens. This wasn't fear. This was preparation. Elias raised his eyes and met Krath Zul's gaze. There was no hatred there, no anger, only focus. "Yes," Elias said quietly. The translation delay almost missed it. Krath Zul laughed again. "One punch? That's all you have?" Elias clenched his fist. The arena's sensors spiked. Gravity stabilizers fluctuated as Elias moved. Not fast, not slow, but perfectly timed. The air compressed around his arm, forming a visible ripple. His fist connected, not with Krath Zul's chest, but a narrow gap beneath. Layered plating, an anatomical weak point Dravex. Engineers believed impossible to target in combat. The impact sounded like an explosion. Krath Zul's massive body lifted off the ground. 800 kilos of muscle and armor flew backward, slamming into the energy barrier with enough force to make the dome flare white. The crowd went silent. Krath Zul dropped to one knee, then another. "What?" he gasped. Medical scanners flooded the display with warnings. Internal fractures, neural shock, structural collapse beneath the armor. Impossible. Elias lowered his fist. Krath Zul tried to stand. He collapsed instead. The Dravex warlord's breathing turned ragged. His 4 arms trembled as he clawed at the arena floor, confusion flooding his reptilian eyes. "I can't feel my arms," Krath Zul whispered. "What did you do to me?" Elias walked toward him, boots echoing softly in the massive arena. Each step felt heavier than the last, not because of fear, but memory. "Human bones break easily," Elias said calmly. "Our muscles tear. Our bodies fail." He crouched in front of the towering alien, now reduced to shaking on the ground. "So we learned control." Krath Zul snarled weakly. "You're lying. No species that fragile." Elias tapped his own chest lightly. "We learned restraint." The words hit harder than the punch. Krath Zul tried to lift one arm. Pain ripped through him, forcing a scream from his throat. Panic replaced arrogance. Council members stood from their seats. Data analysts shouted over one another. This wasn't strength. They were witnessing something far worse. Precision. Elias leaned closer. That punch? He said quietly. That was me holding back. Fear entered Krath Zul's eyes for the first time in his life. Stop! He rasped. Please, I yield. The word echoed across the arena. Yield. A Dravex had never yielded. The crowd erupted, some in shock, others in disbelief. The bell rang again. Match over. Medics rushed into the arena, surrounding Krath Zul's broken body. His armor, once a symbol of dominance, now looked fragile and cracked. Elias stood and turned toward the council's observation chamber. Millions watched in silence. You classified humans as weak, Elias said, his voice steady and carrying across the dome. You said we were unfit for frontline duty. He paused. You were right about one thing. Some council members leaned forward. We are fragile, Elias continued, which is why we learned not to waste force, not to fight unless necessary. He looked back at Krath Zul, now trembling beneath medical lights. When humans stop holding back, someone always gets hurt. No one spoke. Threat assessments updated in real time. Red warnings flashed across classified coalition systems. Human, potential apex threat. Elias turned and walked toward the exit tunnel. Behind him, reputations shattered. Military doctrines rewritten. Quiet fear spread faster than any broadcast. As Elias disappeared into the shadows, the galaxy absorbed a new truth. Humans weren't weak. They were restrained. On distant worlds, commanders replayed the footage. Not of the punch, but of the calm before it. The control. The decision. Krath Zul survived, but his authority did not. A Dravex who begged was no longer fit to rule. And Earth? Earth was no longer ignored. From that day forward, a warning circulated through coalition space. Never official, never written, but universally understood. Never ask a human to hit you, unless you're ready to beg for mercy.